You did not find this message by chance. The hand of the Most High has drawn you here at this precise hour, in this exact moment. This is not a coincidence. It is divine timing. The signs have been stirring around you for weeks. And now what was hidden in silence is rising to the surface. There is a man close to your life. He has walked among many with a steady face, offering polite words, performing normal routines. But within him, the storm is gathering beneath the surface where no eye can see. The truth trembles. Soon, what has been hidden will be exposed. Earthly consequences will follow in ways no one can stop. And the ripple of this moment will reach further than you imagine. This message is not one of fear, but of preparation, as it is written. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. Luke 8:17. Heaven never lets truth fall without warning its chosen ones. If you felt unrest in your spirit, if you have sensed a tension you could not name, know this. It was the Holy Spirit whispering to your soul. The unease, the sleepless nights, the repetition of events you couldn't explain. These were not your imagination. This was spiritual discernment. The fire inside you is real, and now the voice of heaven speaks through this moment to say, be ready, stay awake, pay attention. What is coming will not only shift one life but many. You have been chosen to witness, to understand, and to walk in clarity, not confusion. As you step forward into this sacred awareness, I invite you now declare your readiness. Type Amen in the comments below as a sign of your understanding, your alertness. Let it be known that the message reached you and that you are walking in light, not fear, and stay with this message until the very end. We will close with a prayer to cover you in wisdom, discernment, and divine peace. Because this is not just a video, this is a divine interruption. There is a man whose path has now reached its reckoning. Heaven has seen what was done in the dark. While he spoke in smiles and silence, while he appeared steady before others, his heart wandered far from truth. He has lived in contradiction, saying one thing to man, another to the heavens. But the Lord, who sees the unseen and hears the words unspoken, has watched it all. Nothing escapes his gaze. The alarm in the spirit did not sound without reason. The stirring in your soul, the tightness in your chest, the weight in your thoughts. These have all been signs. Heaven has been sounding the trumpet, and the moment is upon us. This man is not who he claims to be. The time of pretending has come to an end. Just as the prophet Samuel was sent to confront Saul, not out of anger, but because disobedience had gone too far. So now the messengers of God have been released to reveal what can no longer stay hidden. This man has walked closely to your life, perhaps as a confidant, perhaps as a leader, perhaps even as someone who once claimed to love you. But his choices have written a story of deception. His mask is cracking, not by human hands, but by the weight of divine truth pressing against it. The justice that is coming is not sudden. It is simply visible now. In the unseen realm, truth has already been weighed. And what was decided in silence is now beginning to surface in the natural. And though he may still be walking freely in the eyes of people, the courts of heaven have already recorded the outcome. As it is written, do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows, Galatians 6-7. You may wonder, why was someone like this allowed to be so near? Why did the Most High not remove him sooner? But even Job, righteous and faithful, endured testing without understanding the reason. Until later, some delays in your life, some silent battles and strange endings were tied to this man's presence. His energy was a drain. His secret life was a blockage. He wasn't just near your journey, he was interfering with it. And now the Holy One is removing him not to destroy a man, but to protect a purpose. You must understand this. The path ahead for you is holy, and holiness cannot share space with corruption. What God has planned for your next season requires clarity, peace, and truth. So he is lifting the veil. He is exposing what cannot follow you forward. His mercy kept you covered, even when you didn't know the full danger, and now his love is revealing the reason. You didn't fail. You weren't foolish. You simply trusted before the appointed time of unveiling. But that time is here. The chains you couldn't see are being broken. The confusion is being cleared. And the burden you carried without explanation is being lifted. This is not just a moment of warning. It is a moment of release. You may not fully understand everything yet, but soon the patterns will make sense. The decisions of the past will reveal their purpose. And when others begin to ask how you saw it coming, you will remember it was not instinct. It was not suspicion. It was God, the one who never stops protecting his own. Let peace return to your soul. Let the heaviness fall. The truth is no longer hidden. There are angels, quiet, watchful, unwavering, stationed around your life. Even now, they have not left their post. They have surrounded your home like a fortress, covered your mind like a shield, and stood guard over your heart when you didn't know how much danger was near. While you questioned if anyone saw your pain, heaven saw everything. You have not been forgotten. You have been hidden for protection. There were nights you cried yourself to sleep, and days when your strength felt like sand slipping through your fingers. You thought you were breaking, but in truth, you were being rebuilt. What felt like abandonment was actually repositioning. You were being moved out of reach from harm. You were being prepared for the very thing that heaven is now releasing. Yes, the exposure. The truth crashing into light is only the beginning. What is being revealed was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to release you. The man who once clouded your path, who drew energy from your life while wearing the mask of care, is now being removed. His removal is not just an earthly consequence. It is a spiritual unlocking. What was tangled will now unravel. What was delayed will now accelerate. As the prophet Isaiah once wrote, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43:19. What once felt like an ending is actually the start of a divine reordering. The shift you feel in the atmosphere, the tension, the memories resurfacing, the people reappearing from nowhere. This is not random. This is spiritual transition unfolding in real time. There may be moments ahead that feel strange, even heavy. You may be tempted to reach backward to old photos, old messages, old emotions that no longer serve your future. But let the past remain in the hands of God. What is being cleared is making room for what is sacred. You were never just a bystander in this story. You were the reason heaven intervened. You were the one the enemy couldn't touch, not because you were strong, but because you were chosen. The removal of this man is not just about justice. It is about space. Space for your next chapter, space for healing, for joy, for alignment, for peace that doesn't require performance. And for some, even space for the right kind of love, one that reflects God's character, not confusion. The days ahead may ask you to be still, to listen, to resist reacting, and to trust that what you once couldn't make sense of is now becoming clear. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. In stillness you will sense what is shifted, you will know what is being lifted, and you will feel the air clear around you. This is not the end. This is the clearing before the promise. Heaven is not just sending protection now, it is opening the path wide for your next elevation. Listen carefully, because this moment is not just about receiving divine insight, it is about how you carry it. Revelation, when not followed by action, turns into frustration, and heaven did not pull back the curtain simply to stir your emotions. Heaven revealed this truth to position you for what comes next. You have been entrusted with clarity. That is a rare and sacred thing, in a world spinning with noise, illusions, and half-truths. The clarity God gives is a signal. You are no longer walking blind. You are being asked to move like someone who knows the path is holy, even when it is hard. Start with your words in seasons of spiritual unveiling. Silence is not emptiness. It is obedience. There is a sacred power in withholding your voice until the Spirit releases you to speak. Look at Mary, the mother of Jesus after the angel. Gabriel visited her with an unthinkable prophecy. Scripture tells us that she treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. Luke 2:19. She didn't run to explain herself. She didn't argue or announce. She simply held the word. That is the posture you are being called into now. Speak when moved by peace, not pressure. Let truth do what it always does. It rises without your defense. Then quietly examine who surrounds you. There are people who feel familiar but are no longer aligned. Some relationships are not evil but expired. And just like Jonah on the ship to Tarsus, their presence in your boat may be the very reason the storm hasn't calmed. God told Jonah to go one way, he chose another. Everyone else on that ship suffered, not because of their own disobedience, but because of who was riding with them. And it wasn't until they let Jonah go that the waves stilled. Jonah 1:15, sometimes peace doesn't come from prayer, it comes from release. After that, tend to your environment, not just physically, but spiritually. Remove the things that keep tugging you backward. This could be messages, objects, playlists, gifts, clothes, anything that carries the residue of confusion, heartbreak, or compromise. You don't need to destroy these things with anger or make a statement. Quiet obedience speaks louder than performance. You are not dishonoring your past. You are declaring readiness for your future. As God told Israel before they entered the promised land, consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. Joshua 3-5, clean space invites holy movement. Stillness is your secret weapon in this hour. You are being trained not to just hear God in the fire or the earthquake, but in the whisper. Remember Elijah, when he fled to the cave, fearing for his life, desperate for direction. The Lord was not in the wind, nor the earthquake, nor the fire. But then came a still small voice, 1 Kings 19:12, and that whisper carried the instruction that changed everything. In your stillness, ask simply, God, what are you showing me today? And trust that sometimes the answer comes in peace itself, or in a discomfort that refuses to be ignored. Your body, beloved of God, is also a messenger. The weariness you feel is not weakness. It is residue from carrying what was never meant to stay. Your shoulders have held up emotional weight far longer than they were built to. Heaven is not calling you lazy for needing rest. It is inviting you into restoration. Drink water, not just for hydration, but as an act of stewardship over the vessel God gave you. Step outside and let light touch your skin as a reminder that even the sun rises without striving. As Psalm 23 says, He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. This is that restoration. And now hear this gently but clearly. It is not your assignment to save everyone. You cannot outrun someone else's consequences, nor can you stand between a person and what God needs to teach them. Even Jesus, with all power in his hands, did not stop Judas from walking away. He loved him. He called him friend, but he let him go. Compassion without boundaries becomes codependency. You are not turning your back by stepping back. You are aligning yourself with heaven's order. Begin to write, not obsessively, but intentionally. Keep record of what you notice. The shifts in atmosphere, the confirmations, the sudden clarity in conversations you once misunderstood. These notes are not just reminders, they are anchors. When the whirlwind passes, you will look back and see that heaven was guiding you with precision the entire time. Like Joseph, who endured betrayal, imprisonment, and delay, only to one day say, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. You will have your own version of those words. Let your prayers be quiet but focused. God is not moved by volume. He is moved by truth. Pray for discernment. Pray for peace. Pray for the strength to obey, even when it doesn't make emotional sense. And remember, justice is not yours to deliver. It is already unfolding. You are not the judge, you are the protected. Keep your daily rhythm steady, wash the dishes, go for walks, complete your work. These small actions are not distractions, they are anchors when everything else feels uncertain. Routine grounds your nervous system and signals to your spirit. I am safe, I am held, I am still standing. Just as Jesus continued breaking bread with his disciples, even on the night he was betrayed, there is power in the ordinary when the spiritual world is shifting. And finally, release the demand to understand everything now. That is not your burden. Some clarity only comes once the dust settles, and that is by design. God does not explain the entire journey at once, because he is not trying to impress you. He is forming trust in you, and trust grows one step at a time. You are not losing what matters. You are shedding what cannot follow you. There is a holiness on your horizon that cannot coexist with the chaos you have been carrying. Let go, not in fear, but in reverence. You are not being punished. You are being positioned, and one day soon you will look back on this strange, quiet, sacred stretch of days and realize this was not the storm. This was the clearing. This was where God made room for the thing you didn't even know how to ask for. You have been praying for breakthrough quietly, faithfully, sometimes through tears you didn't even have words for. You asked for peace, not vengeance. You asked for clarity, not chaos. And now, in a way you never expected, your answer is arriving not through ease, but through exposure. Breakthrough rarely begins the way we imagine. Sometimes it doesn't look like an open door. It looks like a door slamming shut. Sometimes it begins with something falling apart, so something greater can be built. And now heaven has begun to dismantle what has long been standing in the way of your calling. This isn't just about someone being arrested or removed. This is about why that removal matters. You are not being avenged, you are being liberated. The weight that was pressing against your life through hidden manipulation, spoken curses, and spiritual interference is being lifted. Chains you never fully saw are now broken. Not because you fought harder, but because heaven said enough. There comes a moment in every story when the turning point is not created by the strength of the character, but by the timing of God. Just like when Esther stepped into the king's court, not knowing the full danger ahead, but trusting the whisper of heaven. For such a time as this, Morai told her, Esther 4:14, and perhaps this is your moment. You weren't sent here to explain everything. You were sent here to witness the shift, the man you have been warned about. He is connected to this story more deeply than you realize. He is not innocent, but he is not the only one who bears the weight of guilt. Heaven has seen the conversations behind closed doors, the staged narratives, the carefully crafted lies whispered into the right ears. And now the mask is slipping off another figure, the one no one suspected. The woman cloaked in innocence, using her pain as performance and her charm as camouflage. But God is not fooled by performance. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. And the heart, when filled with deception, eventually betrays itself. This woman, her role in the unraveling, is greater than most will be ready to admit. But heaven is not interested in preserving false images. Heaven is interested in truth. The truth is, there was a plan. A plan built not just on betrayal, but on spiritual manipulation. Someone was pulling strings from behind the scenes, weaving control into conversation, fear into choices, guilt into relationships. What looked like loyalty was entrapment. What looked like support was a snare. And now that plan is unraveling. This is not just a legal turning point. This is a spiritual alarm sounding in the unseen. What is happening in the natural is just the echo of what is already occurred in the spirit. Just as Elisha's servant once panicked at the sight of enemy armies, only to have his eyes open to the heavenly hosts surrounding them. 2 Kings 6:17. So too are you being given vision not to fear what is unfolding, but to understand who is truly at work. Heaven has not allowed this delay in your life to be wasted. Your steps were slowed, not to punish you, but to shield you. You may have felt forgotten, but what really happened was that you were being hidden until the time was safe. The man at the center of this unraveling, he has made mistakes. He has chosen wrongly, but he has also been the target of something darker than what appears on the surface. And now the false story spun around him is coming undone. Not by lawyers, not by arguments, but by light, the light of heaven which pierces every false witness and dries up every poisoned root. And while all this unfolds, you must remain anchored, not in opinions, not in fear, but in truth. Your soul has known something was off long before it was named. You have seen shadows in places others called safe. You felt the weight of things that had no name. And now heaven confirms, you weren't imagining it. This moment, this strange sacred unraveling, is not chaos. It is correction. The spiritual balance is being reset. What once held power through secrecy is losing its grip under exposure. And you are being freed, not just from a situation, but from a cycle, from voices that twisted your value, from relationships that fed on your silence, from systems that benefited from your confusion. This is not random. You are not just watching this happen, you were meant to know. You were meant to understand. Heaven has intervened not to frighten you, but to prepare you. What is coming will shake the foundation of what others thought they knew, but it will also confirm everything your spirit quietly carried. There is nothing to fear, because while others are just beginning to see the cracks, heaven already built your escape. You will know the truth, the scripture says, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. This is that freedom, and it starts now. You felt it for a while now. Long before the words were spoken, long before the situation escalated, something inside of you stirred. A heaviness in the air, a shadow behind certain smiles, repeating delays that made no logical sense, disturbances in your dreams, shifts in tone, Words that once felt warm, suddenly turning cold. You weren't overthinking. You weren't imagining things. Your spirit was discerning what your eyes couldn't yet confirm. What was hidden beneath the surface is now beginning to break open. The lies are cracking. The pressure is rising, and God is tearing off the lid. A man stands at the center of this unraveling, not perfect, but marked, flawed, but chosen. His voice has quieted. His steps have slowed. Something around him has changed, and it is not random. This man is being hunted spiritually, framed, set up, plotted against. And the one pushing the plot forward hides behind false light. She wears grace like a costume. She has learned how to quote scripture, not to seek God, but to manipulate others. She doesn't pray to surrender. She prays to dominate. Heaven has seen every moment. The tears you didn't trust, the laughter that felt hollow, the charm that unsettled you, and now the Most High is lifting the veil. What was once unclear is coming into view, not because you asked, but because your role in this story is far more sacred than you thought. You are not here by accident. You are not reading this out of curiosity. This is divine interception. You have been caught mid-scroll by the hand of the Almighty because heaven needs your awareness, your intercession, your clarity. You are not watching a story unfold from the outside. You are standing at the edge of a battlefield. And the war is not just about this man. It is about what he carries, about what God planted in him before the foundations of the world, a purpose, a mantle, a mission. But when the enemy cannot steal the calling, he tries to destroy the vessel. So this man was sent a counterfeit, not just a woman, but an assignment dressed in affection. Her goal was never love. It was access. Her kindness opened doors to secrets. Her closeness earned his trust. And once she had the keys, she began to build the trap, just as Delilah lured Samson into vulnerability, only to hand him over to his enemies. This woman has crafted a performance designed to look like innocence, but rooted in betrayal. Judges 16 tells the story of a man who lost his strength because he laid his head in the wrong lap. The enemy didn't need an army. He only needed someone close. This man, like Samson, is now at a crossroads. His silence has been loud. His weariness has been visible. But God is not finished with him. Heaven is not abandoning him to destruction. Divine justice is moving swiftly. Angels have been dispatched. Archangel Michael stands at the gate, and while the enemy celebrates early, believing the trap is working, God is already dismantling the plan from within. The woman at the center of this plot has rehearsed every scene. She knows how to cry in public and curse in private. She knows how to perform humility while feeding on control. She pays for silence. She bribes for loyalty. She quotes verses to hide her venom. But now heaven says enough. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness. Isaiah 5:20, she has used holy language to mask unholy motives. But the holiness of God cannot be used as a prop, and now he is stripping the disguise. This exposure isn't about embarrassment, it is about justice. This is a divine reckoning. The truth is being revealed not just to punish, but to protect what is sacred. God is not merely clearing the lies. He is preparing the path for healing, for restoration, for something greater than anyone expected. And you are part of that plan, whether through your prayers, your truth, your presence, or your silence. You are a vessel for this moment. You hold insight, you hold light, you hold discernment. Your role matters more than you think. Don't second-guess the unease you felt in her presence. Don't dismiss the tension your spirit sensed. That was heaven's whisper. That was the divine alarm sounding gently inside you. And now what was quiet is growing louder. What was hidden is rising into the open. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. Matthew 10:26. As truth begins to unfold, the woman who stood so confidently will falter. Her alliances will break. The favor she faked will vanish. The stage she set for his downfall will become the platform of her own exposure. She built her power on lies. And heaven does not bless manipulation, it blesses truth. But understand this: when truth rises, darkness resists. And resistance often looks like confusion, like backlash, like whisper campaigns and sudden cold shoulders. But hold your ground. Let your prayers rise like incense. Let your discernment sharpen like a sword. You are covered. You are protected. You are not alone. What you feel rising in your chest, it is not fear, it is recognition. Your soul knows what is happening. Your spirit knows this hour matters. You were born for this alignment. You were chosen for this unraveling. And while the world may shout its judgments, you already know what heaven has said. This is the hour of exposure, of spiritual correction, of divine realignment. And God is using you as part of his response. Do not fear what is unfolding. Do not believe every tear you see. Not all pain is pure. Not all brokenness is honest. And not every accusation is righteous. Sometimes the enemy's most dangerous disguise is the victim. But the Lord is not blind. And now he is acting swiftly, clearly, righteously. And as the scroll of truth begins to unroll, you will watch the lies fall apart, one by one, day by day. And when the dust settles, you will know this wasn't just a storm. It was a rescue. God is not too late. He never is. And this moment, strange and urgent as it feels, is exactly on time. Heaven has not been still. Though your eyes saw silence, the throne of God has been anything but inactive. Behind the veil of your everyday life, movements have been unfolding, quiet, precise, and divine. Angels have walked the corridors of your days, unseen yet present. They have stood at thresholds you didn't know you were nearing. They have turned the winds in your favor when you felt like all was against you. And now the moment of exposure has come, not to destroy, but to deliver. Something is shifting, and your spirit already knows. You have felt the tension in the air, the pressure without reason. You have seen the glances that lasted too long, the conversations that stopped when you entered the room. You have carried the weight of invisible warfare. And now heaven speaks clearly. You were not imagining it. A man once close to your circle, once trusted, once gentle in tone, has been walking a path built on deception. Not every serpent slithers. Some speak softly. This man has smiled with one face while concealing another. He has traded integrity for advantage. He believed the shadows could cover what heaven sees clearly. But the Lord, who never sleeps, has seen every step, for his eyes are on the ways of man, and he sees all his steps. Job 34:21. And now justice is in motion, not the justice of men alone, but of the Almighty. The gavel has fallen in heaven's court, not out of anger, but out of righteousness, not out of wrath, but out of protection for you. You may feel conflicted. That is normal when your heart has known someone your spirit could not fully trust. Love often sees potential even when truth reveals pattern. But God is not asking you to carry the burden of understanding everything at once. He is asking you to trust him as he removes what was never meant to stay. Behind the scenes, things are being uncovered. Reports, testimonies, whispers in hidden rooms. none of it escapes the gaze of the Most High. He is pulling back the curtain. What was said in secret will echo in places where truth reigns. The mask has slipped, and what is beneath it cannot be ignored. You may wonder why it took so long, why God didn't act sooner. But divine timing is never early and never late. The vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tar, wait for it, because it will surely come.